Everyone here, um, I'm happy to see everyone here. Like, I don't know how to feel right now, but I know we're here for the right reasons, right? I'm gonna just share with us what this entire thing is about very quickly. In fact, I don't want to go past Excel's time. I wrote it down, so I'll just read it to us. But I really want to appreciate you for coming. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Success. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Boma. And so many of the other persons. So I'll just read what I have here. We often talk about the future as somewhere ahead of us, something we arrive at one day, but the truth is simple and very uncomfortable. We are already living inside the future we created yesterday. Every decision we make or avoid, every skill we invest in or ignore, every system we participate in without questioning is actively shaping what tomorrow looks like for us. In the years ahead, roles will change, industries will reorganize, skills will expire, and pattern of work and value shifts. The future will not ask for your title or background, it will ask whether you are prepared or assumed. This gathering is not about predicting trends, it's not about AI hype or boom or whatever it is. This gathering is not about all of those things, it's about understanding systems, recognizing responsibilities, and moving from awareness to action. Because there's no future without. Yeah, so basically what I read here is that the future is collaborative, the future is connected, and that's why we are here. We're here to see a glimpse of some of the things that are happening around us and how we can fit into it very, very easily. There will come a time where we might not be able to do things like this. We'll be talking about more advanced things, more complex things. But if you're not able to catch that vision now, you're not able to look into the future and be a part of it at this point, it's just going to be like for some of us, when we heard about Web3, we heard about some things, it was close to us. I used to tell my friends that, I wish I learned something around Web3. But when that thing passed us by, to go back to it was a lot. But in this future we are heading to, that we're moving into, it's democratized. Learning is going to be democratized. Knowledge is going to be everywhere. So it matters what we do with it. It matters how we prepare for it. And that is what we are here to do. We are going to look at different things, different sectors, intelligence, organization, creativity, learning, work, and data. So I want you to sit back, be attentive, learn, and ask questions. It's going to be very, very conversational. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It's good to see everybody. So on the count of three, you're going to tell me your name. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, nice to meet you. My name is John, like you heard, and it's a very big privilege being with us here at the future. And thank you, Jeremiah, for this privilege. I do not take it for granted. Shalom, Mr. Isaac, every other person, Omar, Favor, good to see you. And everyone, I do not know your names yet, but I will eventually know your names. So once again, my name is John, and I'm sure that from all the bio that was read, one thing that stood out for you might be just my name, right? You might have forgotten every other thing, but you remember my name. So it's a lesson to us that whatever you do, whatever your achievements are, a good name is still paramount. A good name. So that's a takeaway for someone this morning. So without wasting our time, I will be speaking on emotional intelligence, workplace culture, and ethics. Emotional intelligence, workplace culture, and ethics. I know this is a season where AI is involved, everything, AI, this one, AI. But if you take a pause and think about it properly, AI cannot exist without an actual intelligence behind it. That is, an artificial intelligence cannot exist without an actual intelligence. And the possessors of the actual intelligence are you and I. All the training data, the algorithms that AI is running on are what we all do on a daily basis. That is what is powering AI. However, there's one thing that we cannot do without: emotional intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a machine. Machine is fine. However, emotional intelligence, we are all emotive beings, and that is why we need emotional intelligence. I've heard a lot of roles, job roles, creative designer, business technologist, fashion designer. I've heard a lot of roles in this hall. And all of us here will agree with the fact that emotional intelligence is one of the key things that has helped us in all of these things. So today, we'll be talking about, again, emotional intelligence, workplace culture, and ethics. So Mr. DJ, if I say anything concerning football, it's a cue to my next slide. Agreed. So I won't be professional. Next slide. So if you hear anything like, it's tell you next slide. So you have to pay attention. Okay. Let's deliberate Mr. DJ. I know he's not making any music, but he's on the beat. Okay. All right. So most organizations do not fail because of improper structures. Because if you think of it, what makes up an organization? The people. You and I, we work in Google. What makes up Google is the staff, the member of staff in Google. And all of these people are what cultivates the culture of Google. I don't work with Google, but I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. So most organizations don't fail because of lack of intelligence or talent. They fail because of unmanaged emotions, unhealthy cultures, and ethical blind spots. Unmanaged emotions. So for instance, you have a task to deliver. Your boss gave you a deadline. However, because of something, am I obstructing your lead? Okay. Offside. So Okay. Yeah. Good one. So most organizations don't fail because of lack of talent or intelligence. They fail because of these three rules that I mentioned. That is, number one, they fail because of unmanaged emotions, unhealthy cultures, and ethical blind spots. So on my slide here, this conversation matters. This conversation that we're having today matters because one, high IQ does not equal to effective leadership. The fact that you're very intelligent, you're book smart, you know things, it doesn't mean that you will be an effective leader. And you will agree with me, everyone here, you are leading a team, you're leading yourself. We're all leaders. And that is why we have to be emotionally intelligent. I also said here, toxic culture destroys great strategies. There's a saying that says, bad culture eats strategies for breakfast. If your organization has good strategies, you've implemented a lot of good systems, but if you have a bad culture or unhealthy culture, it's going to eat all those strategies for breakfast. Do you get it? Also, ethical failures are often cultural, like I said. Every workplace challenge eventually comes down to people and behavior. We're the ones that make up our organization. If I don't have a good relationship with my colleague, there's nothing good that can come out of whatever thing we're doing. Penalty kick. Just stay with me, okay? Yeah, so what is emotional intelligence? Before you read one on the screen, I would just like to take one or two persons to give me their view on what emotional intelligence is. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be encyclopedic or anything. Just what do you think emotional intelligence is? Why is everybody looking at me? Okay, my learned colleague.
I've already read all of it.
Okay, so summarize what you know about it.
Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage emotions.
Should we read what is on the screen? Come on.
Not again.
Okay.
Self-awareness, manage emotions, both their and each other.
Please let's celebrate that. So what the most? Children. Okay, let's celebrate children. Yes, emotional intelligence, simply put. I have tried to simplify everything so that it will be relatable. There are no jargons, no grammars. So emotional intelligence, EI for short, is the ability to understand, manage, and use emotions, yours and others. Now there's an emboldened word, effectively. It is not sufficient that you can use your emotions, you can manage your emotions or others, but you can manage it effectively. Now that is what is emotional intelligence. Now I said EI, emotional intelligence, is not about being emotional. There's this analogy that I like to give. The fact that you're very emotive does not mean you know how to use your emotions. The fact that you can express your emotions does not mean you're intelligent in expressing those emotions. So that is the fact that we're trying to establish today. Emotional intelligence is not about being emotional. It is about being emotionally intelligent. World Cup. All right. So there are some core components. I won't dwell so much on this. First is self-awareness. What is self-awareness? Now, this is not a lecture, this is a conversation. What is self-awareness? What does it mean to be self-aware?
You know, love yourself, like what you do,
Okay.
where you go,
Okay.
chance to be, how you create your mind.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Let's slap on hands. What's your name? Stable. Okay. Yeah. So in simple terms, being self-aware is you're conscious of yourself. You're aware. You're not indecisive. You know what you're doing per time. You know what is influencing your decisions. The second is self-regulation. You know when you are hitting your low moments. You know how to regulate yourself. You know how to recuperate. The third is motivation. The fourth is empathy. And the fifth is social skills. Now, I'll dwell a little bit on empathy and social skills. Now, in this generation, most of us are quite selfish, and you will agree with me. Now, let's take an example. Let's say you took a photo with a group of people. Be very sincere with yourself. Who is the first person you're going to look out for in that photo? And if you're not looking good in that photo, you're going to say, oh, no, let's take this photo again. Even if every other person looks good, but because you closed your eyes or you did your teeth somehow, you're going to say, no, I don't like this photo. Why? You don't like how you look in that photo. Now, that is something that we all have to learn, and empathy nowadays is not sympathy. Empathy and sympathy are really quite very different. And most of us, we will agree with me that we are not so empathetic in our relationship. Most of us are quite transactional, we're quite logical. Of course, it's good to be logical. But when it comes to emotional intelligence, when you're listening to someone talk, you're listening empathetically. If someone is sharing their story, you're listening with rapt attention. Now, it's different from the fact that you don't understand what that person is saying, and you are clearly just looking with rapt attention. It happened to me yesterday at work. So there's this Iranian guy that came, was asking me some questions. Trust me, I did not hear what he was saying. But if you were on the other end, I like how the guy is listening. I was just paying attention, trying to read the news. The guy was so happy to talk to me. And I was just looking at him, trying to pick out anything he was saying. If you're listening to him or to that conversation, you think, oh, this guy is fantastic. He listens so well, he's alive. I was not listening to Jack. So that is not empathetic listening. Empathetic listening is you're listening to that person with all of your emotions in place. You're listening not to respond. You're listening to understand that person. There's a feeling that you have when somebody listens to you. Yeah, so social skills. Yes, it's good to harness the power of social media, but a lot of us don't know how to relate to other people in a public space, like socially. You can hide behind your keypad and type all those comments, but if you use the microphone, where say this thing in this public space, you're going to melt. So you have to learn social skills. It's part of the key components of emotional intelligence. It's what you like on my phone. Okay. Good. Thank you. Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes. So emotional intelligence in the workplace. I'm sure I have less than 10 minutes, and I have not even rounded up my introduction. Okay, so emotional intelligence in the workplace, constructive handling of conflict. This is number one because you cannot deal with conflict when you're relating with human beings. We're different people and we have different backgrounds, we have different opinions of things, we have different viewpoints. And this will often lead to conflicts in resolving issues. So, emotional intelligence, how do you balance it at your workplace? I'm sure this conversation is not new, not something like unraveling, right? It's just a conversation. Can someone give me a very good example of maybe an issue at your workplace and how you resolve it amicably? Let's just pick one or two things. Anybody? Anybody? Okay, no one's going to volunteer. I'm going to be somebody. Yes. Sidara. Okay. Oh, what the?
Actually, think that I don't have.
You don't have any. So I'm going to speak on one. I don't want this conversation to be one-sided. I want it to be you talk and I talk. Okay, so my inner Canadian enthusiasm. Okay. Okay. You can just tell us your name and yes.
My name is John.
Okay. All right.
Okay. First, while I was serving under my organization of my state commission NPC in Atasobo, we had this issue where we actually did get the files late. We're supposed to edit some files that we're supposed to send to the DG's mail and stuff like that. We first approve before we post it on the social media handle. The team lead didn't send the files. He was in office. Like, you also, man, push this thing forward, push this thing forward. I was like, no, that he has to go through some things first. Okay. Before we close that day, also push this thing forward, he has to go through some things. Then he got home, I called him, he said he didn't have data. And mind you, the commission makes provision for him specifically, his own data. So like, you don't have data. I'm like, bro, of course he's older and he's working and I'm serving. It's the same thing as me being an intern, so I can't obviously, So that whole thing happened. We got to the next day and then we were all being scolded for not actually finishing. Yes. Okay. And he was there scolding us too. It was really beautiful. So for people that didn't understand what was happening, they were like, every other person was really throwing a fit, but I was there like, wait. It was like I was slow at that point because everything was like full jars of commotion. I'm like, who is joking? When he finished, when the whole scenario finished and he came back, he was like, that we should not be angry, that he slept off. I'm like, bro, you slept off. I called you by 8, I called you by 9. How did you sleep? You're not even supposed to be able to sleep. But anyways, that whole thing happened and then we did realize that he did got the data. And he had a falling out with the director of that particular directorate, and that was the reason why he did that. To put that person in trouble, and the whole thing just backlash to us, and it was just crazy.
Wow.
To be honest, I don't think I handled it well because after I realized what he did, that was when I threw my own feet. Yes, and it was not quiet. It wasn't quiet. So, that was not the handling it.
Okay, so what do you think you could have done better? Be sincere.
To be honest with you, I think I would have accessed the system myself and then sent the file.
Yourself?
Yes.
Without his approval?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anybody agree with that?
No, they don't have to. That's what I would do.
Okay. Who has the contrary opinion? Would you have sent that file without your boss approval to salvage the situation, or you don't send anything? You saved the day by being the hero. Okay. Well, like I said, everybody has their own opinions. Again, feedback down here. you cannot, especially for those in the creative space, there are some clients you're going to work with. They have zero, like zilch knowledge of the product they're trying to build. And when they give you feedback, no, I want this as toggle, not drop down. No, I want this color to be yellow and blue, not purple and green. And then they're giving you feedback like, what is this? I know you work 18 hours on this, but it is trash. And you know, when you hear words like that, they can trigger something in you. If you're not emotionally intelligent, you're going to react to it. You're going to react and not respond. Okay, I'll send that to the email. Okay, accountability without humiliation, stronger collaboration and trust. We cannot avoid these components in the future because these are the things that comprise emotional intelligence in the workplace. Offside. Okay, so leadership. Now, emotional intelligence and leadership. Now, we have low emotional intelligence leaders. We have low intelligence leaders, and these people react emotionally. Now, this boils down to the example we gave earlier. If you're a low intelligence leader, you're going to react to that situation. You're going to react when you're giving feedback. You're not going to respond and take these things, Mr. And then we have high intelligence leaders. They build trust, they inspire loyalty, and remain calm under pressure. I think this is one of the things that I have been blessed with, to remain calm. Anyhow, everything will be happening when I'm calm, you know. You don't need to scenes. You know, you walk out of the fire. Where? Not everybody has it, but I'm blessed. Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo again. Okay, so I'm going to just rush through on. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so healthy and toxic culture. I'm sure all of us here have one way or the other experienced a toxic culture in the workplace. Somebody is nothing. I remember an experience she shared with me. It was terrible. Trust me, it was terrible. But somehow she still managed to scale me. So we cannot escape these things. We cannot escape it. We cannot escape it. Very fortunate. Okay. It's explainable, self-explanatory. I'm just going to rush to my last slide. Let me go in. Yeah. So compliance. I'm a lawyer trained legally, so I cannot, keeping the law. Amen. Okay. So compliance are what is legally accepted, and then ethics are what is morally right. Some organizations can be compliant, but not ethical. So I'm in the compliance phase. I see a lot of things, I see a lot of backdoors just to be compliant. But some of these things are ethically wrong. And for founders here, for workers, for every one of us, I would say you should prioritize doing something more morally right and compliant, rather than just compliant and not morally right. Okay? The connection between EI, culture, and ethics. Emotional intelligence shapes behavior. Workplace culture normalizes behavior. Ethics guides the decisions under pressure. And then low emotional intelligence breeds culture, breeds toxic culture, which enables unethical behavior. Now the consequences, it's self-explanatory. The next. Right, so this is a take home for everyone of us here. I know my time is up, and I apologize for that. So number one, if you're hiring, please hire for character, not just for competence. I know competence is important, but if you have character, you can train for competence. Character is paramount. See, if you don't have it, you don't have it. So you can train, yes. Number three, reward. I recently saw a post where somebody returned, somebody found 1.5 billion in his account, mistakenly transferred his account. And then he's being asked to refund it. He very sensitive Nigeria, but say, you went to one. Let me get my money. Will you return your money? Okay. Okay. Do you have a feeling of 1.5 billion? Have you ever had a feeling like what it looks like in your account? You have that, but you will. Are you saying this because you're a Christian or because you're a Muslim? It's right into it's about 5 billion. Think about billion, not million, billion. It has like no number of zeros. Okay, so next slide. Yes, so final thought, emotional intelligence manages the workplace, preserves Ending presumptions of the last slide. Next slide. Yes, yeah. Thank you very much.
I want to ask the other for Mr. John. Mr. John, no, please. Just a very quick interactive session. While you were, giving your talk, you said something about you have a way of staying calm under pressure.
Yes.
That even when earthquake happened, you people helped him, yeah? So the question is very straightforward, and I'd like you to answer it as
Straightforward as possible.
what are your strategies of staying calm? Like from A to B, like I want to know because I would like to stay calm. You understand?
Okay.
So
Okay, so like I said, it's a character building. So you build your character before you build your competence. And personally, from you observing the way I talk, the way my demeanors, you could tell that, okay, he's a calm person. So that is an advantage that I have built on. I'm sure you have your own advantage as well. You could be highly spirited, you could be, or you can learn how to be calm under pressure. And again, here is balance. The fact that you're a calm person does not mean that you automatically become under pressure. There's something that pressure does to you. It activates your neural, whereby they begin to stack. So this is what I do practically.
yes.
This is the situation. Oh, my laptop. God forbid, let me know this one. Something happened. I was at work.
Someone's laptop.
Yeah, just had called me that morning. Said it was late for the laptop. And I said, okay. Have you checked under the bed? Have you checked the window? Have you checked the toilet? Whereas the laptop was under his TV. But it was calm from the way he responded before. It was a long person. I'm sure the years there to have heard, hey, my laptop, So first of all, assess the situation. Just think through it. Don't lose your thoughts in that situation. But if you lose your thoughts, you take irrational steps. If somebody annoys you, it's out of impulse. So just maintain yourself, maintain your composure. I think that is where maintain your sense. That is what it should apply here. If you're under pressure, maintain your steez. Exactly.
Thank you very much. Can we put our hands together for me? We do not have enough time. Hopefully we'll get back to this conversation. So thank you. You can have your seat.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you again. I think the second time I'm coming up. So I'll just, I've laid a background before now, so I'll just go a bit deeper with that. I'm not sure I'm going to use football this time, or I don't know. I've learned something. It mustn't be the same way. It mustn't say next slide. I don't know what I'm going to use. What should I use? Maybe I'll use someone's name here. Sorry? Musicians, okay. Are you ready? All right. Messaging will. Okay. So I'm speaking on the future of intelligence, and I can't say it. Okay. The future of intelligence. So this is going to be like a background to every other thing that we're going to hear today. The future is very interesting. It's very interesting. And like I said the first time, if we lose this moment, if we lose this, you can call it a bubble, you can call it a hype, but it's reality. If we lose this moment, to catch up might be difficult. Things are changing, workflows are changing, what learning is changing, what creativity is changing, and I'm very sure that each and every one of us, we have something that we are doing. We are either professionals in different industries. We're either creatives, we sometimes have our own businesses, and things have to keep moving. But the way they will move is changing. So the reason why we are doing all of this is to inculcate that change into our lives somehow. Another solution, okay. Yeah. No. Let's go back to messaging. Okay. So what is intelligence? What is intelligence? I think John was speaking. He spoke about how that there is no artificial intelligence without the human intelligence. I'm going to be focusing on what collaboration in this new age is going to be about. There is no artificial intelligence without human intelligence. So you matter. There was something we were talking about the other time. Our catchphrase, I can't remember. The future is not complete without you. So it's intentional. When this idea came to me, I was looking for how to coin it. Because I know it's human-centered, it's human-centric, and the little just drops to my heart that okay, it's about humans, it's about you. So many people are threatening that, oh, what's going to happen to my job? How am I going to survive? There's a hype, I'm confused. But it's about you. Every hype you are seeing, everything that is happening, every development, every innovation that is happening. You watch Davos 2026, they are talking about a lot of things. It's about you. It's not about the machine, really. It's not about complexity, it's about you. So if you are neglecting the future, then we are as well leaving ourselves to machines to control things, and that's not going to happen. So what we are doing here is to just help us to understand where we are and where we are going, and how each and every one of us fit into these roles, fit into these new workflows. So intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. So human intelligence, if you look at human intelligence now, when you say someone is intelligent, the person has been able to acquire, the person has the ability to acquire and to apply knowledge and skill. When it comes to artificial intelligence also, these machines are trained, these models are trained to acquire knowledge. They don't exist independently. There is no independent knowledge. It has to be applied somewhere. So these models, these things that we use, these tools that we use, they don't exist independently. They are there to acquire knowledge, to learn from us. I think I'll get into it like in future slides, how that the machines have been learning from us for 70 years, and we don't want to learn about them, right? So it's about acquiring knowledge, applying those knowledge and skills. Timi Dakolo. So before now, what we had was humans or machines. So it's either humans or machines. So you're either doing stuff on your own, or you leave the machines to do it for you, right? But now, what we have is a very strong and solid collaboration. A very strong and solid collaboration between humans and machines. So when I say machines now, I'm referring to tools, I'm referring to workflows, I'm referring to approach that we give to things. Before now it was, oh, I need to figure this out. There are so many things that do not directly contribute to your productivity, that not directly contribute to your output, but you have to do them. Are they necessary? No. The most important thing is your output, is what you bring forth, the productivity, the profits. When I say profit, I don't mean money. The output, the goal of what you want to do, that's the most important thing. So a collaboration between humans and machines will bring about speed, will bring about scale, will bring about a larger scope. You can apply a lot of things in different degrees. You're not just doing small things, you can scale. But if you stick with the old model of human, I do my stuff and allow the machine to do its stuff, there's no synergy, there's no collaboration, you can't do much that way. Oh wow, not turning over please. Okay, so this is an illustration. So this is David.ai and this is Dave. They look alike anatomically, their height is the same, everything about them is the same. This guy was trained from data with the data of this guy. So this is just one out of many. So you have billions of people, we have all our data, whether you do end-to-end encryption or not, you should have your data floating somewhere in the cloud, and some people have access to it. So this guy has been learning about this guy to make this guy's life better. But when this guy finally showed his face to this guy felt like he was a threat. I don't know if you understand my analogy. So this guy has been learning, Dave has been learning so much about, Dave AI has been learning so much about Dave for supposed to be 70 years. That's a mistake. For over 70 years. But this guy has not come to the reality that this guy is here to help me. This guy is here to support me. He sees this guy as a threat. So one thing I want us to take away from here is that we must embrace nascent technologies. Some of them are not entirely applicable at the moment, but especially artificial intelligence is here to stay. And in a couple of months, in a couple of years from now, we won't be having this kind of conversation. The conversation we'll be having will be on another level. And if you're not there yet, it's not a class that you can just walk to. You have to go back to pick it up, because the expectations are going to be different. The expectations as regards speed is going to be different. Expectations as regards scope, how much you can do, is going to be different. Expectations as regards your output is going to be different, because when your boss gives you a task, maybe on Excel, and you tell them, oh, it's going to take 4 days, and they're wondering, okay, what is going to take 4 days? Is it the prompts you're going to write, or how you're going to think about it? Or you're not the one doing the manual work. You have assigned the manual work to something. So what exactly is going to take that time? So expectations are going to be higher. And I don't want to move ahead of myself, but there's one very profound point I want each and every one of us to take from here. When you say artificial intelligence, people think about their jobs, and that is very valid. You think about how automation can take away some of the things that you are doing. But I want us to have a new definition of what a job is. If your job is not creating value at the strategic level, if you're not giving value at the strategic level, if you're giving value at the input level, input, output, you're doing repetitive tasks, you're doing things that just on and on and on without creating that overarching strategy and logic level. Those are the things that artificial intelligence is going to take away, because those are the things they've learned from us. They've learned patterns that, oh, this guy, whenever he wants to design, he moves his cursor to the select tool and he draws a shape and he does this, and he applies color, he applies this and that. That is what the design process looks like. In all of that, what is the most important thing when you're designing? I'm using design for instance because I'm a designer. What is the most important thing? If you want to create anything, let's use design for instance. When this banner was designed, there was one thing in the heart of the designer: to communicate an emotion and to make you see it. It's not about the tool that they use. In fact, some of us don't know the tools that was used in this. Some of us don't know maybe the font that was used there. Some of us don't know a lot of things about this, but it came out. The most important thing is that it came out, right? So when it comes to doing your job, the most important thing should be the concept and the output. So if you look at your job currently and you don't have that strategic insight into what you are doing, you can't, as a software engineer, I have to tell you that, oh, you need to buff up security on this end of this software. If I have to tell you that means you're going to lose your job, because what you're doing is just coding. You're writing English, or you're writing syntax, you're synthesizing codes, which AI does better than humans. But when it comes to logic, when it comes to giving instructions on, okay, this is what we are trying to build, this is where we want to buff up security, this is the logic, this is our algorithm, it can't do that for you because you know what you want to do. So you are giving it context. So if your job currently, if you look at it and everything you're doing is computational, you're imputing something, you're not doing anything at the strategic level, AI is going to take off the task. And if your only job is a task, it might likely take it out. But if your job is a combination of task and strategy, I'm very certain that you're going to have it. You're still going to have it, because You're going to be a leader somehow. When I say leadership now, I'm not talking about, oh, you're going to be the CEO. Of course, you can be the CEO in your company, but you'll be able to lead thoughts. You'll be able to lead the machine to do what it's supposed to do. I want to use fashion brands now, Valentino. Okay, to a 5-year-old, I know that some of us are technical people here, some of us are not. I want everyone to be on the same level. There's a layer that everyone should be on when it comes to understanding the future of work, understanding artificial intelligence. There's a layer that everyone should pass and understanding these basic things, these basic concepts. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and models, I believe every one of us here at some point today, you're able to understand what these things are. Basically, to a 5-year-old, artificial intelligence is a smart computer that tries to think and help like a human, like I showed you in that analogy. Something has learned from you so much and is able to easily, oh, this is what you're looking for. I got it 25 years ago, give it to you. You don't have to do all of those things. The most important thing is to get the job done. Machine learning. So, just like the name would suggest, a machine is learning. So when you're learning, what are you doing? You are expanding your knowledge base. So when a machine is trained, so let me start from the model now. So a model, just like a fashion model, is someone that enters into the shoe of another to portray something. So when I'm building a model for maybe a generative AI model, I train it with pictures, with media files, with contents, and all of these other things, because I want it to be able to do that thing for me in future. So when you hear the word model, you can see that there are different models now. There's Nanobank for image generation, there's this Sora, there's this Gemini. Those are just things that have been trained over time, whether trained by humans or trained by optimizing themselves. So machines can learn by themselves. They can learn by themselves. So if you impute that layer of learning by themselves, living like humans, learning new things, they can do that by themselves. But the concept of model is that something can sit in the shoe of another. The brain of the computer is able to remember what it has learned over time. So as maybe a content creator or a videographer, you can pick up that skill. It's not something that is going to affect your job or anything. Training models in your field, like, because you are the one that has the domain expertise, you're the one that have the base knowledge in your field, right? You can look at how you can begin to incorporate some of these things into your daily life, because at the end of the day, what we're going to be doing is increasing that knowledge base for the machines to be able to help us take away the repetitive task and do what is productive. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So let's go to Ralph Lauren. I'm trying to see if I know these things. That's why I'm calling these brands. If someone asks me that, oh, give me 10 fashion brands, now I should be able to mention. Okay, to a 5-year-old, what is generative AI? Just like the name suggests to you, generative AI, a kind of model that is able to generate something based on a large body of data that has been given to it. So when someone says, oh, I use Gen AI to do this thing, you should not be lost. It's very simple, generative AI. A computer that creates things like stories, pictures, and so on. So as a creative, this should be your core. This should be what you're learning day by day. Like in your free times, you're just learning, okay, how can I get better at using generative AI to do repetitive tasks? I was showing some of my friends one platform yesterday. I think I posted it on my socials. You upload a video. You don't have to upload a video and start cutting. We'll get there. We have to do it for this thing we're doing now. Cut it. But we'll get there. When you upload a video, the most important thing is that I want to get hooks. I want to get moments that will go viral, that carries a lot of knowledge. I don't have to sit with the video. It's like watching the event again. If I'm a video editor, if you are the event host, you can watch it again to see where you can improve. But if your job is to get something done, focus on getting it done. The process is important, but you can assign that to a machine. So you upload the video, it cuts it into maybe 15, depending on how many you want to cut it to. Gives you subtitle already, gives you caption, tell you the caption you can use to make a post, tell you how viral it will go. Like, it's just so, I don't know what to think about it. Balenciaga. Okay, prompts. Okay, I've not spoken about prompt. LLM. So these are large language models, and this is very interesting because at the end of the day, some of us think, oh, I'm a nurse, I'm in oil and gas, I'm in law, not in law now, I'm in law. I'm in law, and how can I be part of this thing? you have to be a leader in that field. What I mean, you have to be a leader in that field. You have to be a contributor. The concept of artificial intelligence is strong collaboration. So that domain expert, that 15 years of experience you have, drafting policies, doing all of those things, has to apply somewhere. It has to scale. So, okay, I created this. Okay, the background image was created with AI. I just put a text on it. So I'm asking this guy, okay, Jerry, what are you replacing? Okay, I think I've spoken about. Can you go to the previous slide, please? I'm talking about LLMs. So what we interact today with is, okay, GPT, you have a large body of knowledge. You can search something, it brings out the solution. But it's beyond that. My time is running out. It's beyond that. There's something called domain expertise that at the end of the day, you have industry professionals, like maybe people in finance. You have a team that is responsible for building a body of knowledge within the organization. So everything is localized. So when you're making a query, you're making a search with your own model as an organization, it's not generic knowledge, it's live applicable knowledge within your field. So that's where we are going to. So all of these platforms, Claude and all the other guys, they are very large language models that exist everywhere. But the goal is to have a domain-centric knowledge base within organizations. So you need to start preparing yourself for that as a professional. Okay, how can we build an effective knowledge base within this organization that will help us query things faster, that will help us to improve our workflows faster? Just run through the slide. I'll tell you where to stop. Yeah, let's stay there. So let me just give us this stat. There's a 70-30 rule that says the 30% rule in AI is a framework emphasizing that AI should handle approximately 70% of repetitive tasks. So right now, the goal is that whatever tool you are using is able to handle 70% of repetitive tasks. So if you think that there's no solution that exists already that can do that, you can learn automation. You can learn how to link Notion to this other platform, to this other platform. These are things that we can talk about later on, right? But not now. But all these things are possible. All you need to do is to search, to research. My friend and brother here is going to talk about the future of learning, so we'll know how to really learn in this age. So we have 30% rule is AI framework emphasizing that AI should handle 70% of the repetitive tasks, and then the remaining 30% should focus on creativity. That's the inception of it, the conceptualization of it, judgments, and ethical decision. So I used to tell John that, you have to build something for the legal system. There are a lot of models, a lot of applications now that we need to layer that legal part of it on, maybe build a model that stays on. So that is future-proofing your skill. The future is very clear, AI plus deep domain judgment. So you hold your job, you hold it in high esteem. You're a content marketer or you're a business development person. You know your job so well that when you add this guy to it, it's going to be something else. So deep domain expertise. It's shifting from memorization to interpretation. So you don't have to memorize things. The data is available. Information is everywhere. What you need to focus on is interpretation. So when you are reading anything, it's about bringing insight from it. It's about insight, not about, I remember, I don't remember. In schools, we should not be doing, if you remember, you got the answer. If you don't remember, it should be about analysis, getting insight from what you have. Execution should be for AI. Execution should be for the artificial intelligence. While judgment should be for you. Is this thing good enough for us in the long run? Yes or no? That should be your role in the next few months, in the next few years. Individual brilliance doesn't exist anymore. Everything will not be AI, human AI collaboration. And the concept of static knowledge, the concept of, I studied biochemistry, I studied industrial chemistry, it doesn't work anymore. The concept of learning should now be continuous, because in that your field that you have gained domain expertise, you need to start learning things that will make your work more efficient. I see a pharmacist here, you're already thinking of, this is how we can do this thing to make it. And I also see a finance person beside her. So there's a lot that we can do, really. There's really a lot that we can do. And I'm happy to see you here, and I'm hoping to see you in the future doing what you're doing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Jerry. The future of intelligence. Wow. A lot has been said, and I just hope that you're able to, key into some of the conversations and some of the ideas he had, mentioned. A very quick one, a very direct question. How will intelligence be measured in the future? Now we're in the future. How will they say that, oh, Excel is intelligent or Isaac is intelligent? How can we measure intelligence?
Okay, I think that's a very hello. I think that's a very brilliant question because for me as a person, you give context to these things. When it comes to intelligence now, as a business owner, what would intelligence look like for you? As maybe a startup founder, what would intelligence look like for you? It's very simple. It's results, right? It's going to be results. Intelligence is going to be results. The processes will differ. How you go about it will differ. I was on an interview. It was supposed to be a 2-hour interview, a live interview call for a job, and it's an AI startup. So I just understood why the interview was for 2 hours. It was not about, how have you been, 5 years of experience, can you tell us what you have been doing? I work for this person, She was on the call, looking at what I was doing. Like, okay, can you explain the concept to me? And I was trying to, before you know it's from here to GPT, from this place to Claude, from this place to, she was like, after 20 minutes, like, okay, that's fine, that's okay. And that's how I got the job. So I'm not saying that intelligence will not be a measure of the things that you can retain, but intelligence now will be active. You know that thing, I did active. That's you're able to, you have a vast knowledge, you have skill sets, you have layers of skills on top of each other. You know how to learn, you know how to execute, you know how to communicate insights and impacts, you know how to give strategy, logic, and not just speak English, right? That is the future of intelligence for me. That's the future of brilliance. If you want to know a brilliant person, when you go to the school, it will be when I talks about it. How do you assess students now? How do you assess students now? Like, is it going to be, you got 10 over 10, or have you really learned? You want to know if you've learned and how are these things applicable? So it's going to be really about results, but not just generating results in any way, in the most ethical way, but also in the most time-saving way that maintains equality. I think that's what it is.
All right. Can we put our hands together for Mr. Jerry? So part of the ways we can measure intelligence, like you pointed out, your ability to, get information faster. The mic is okay. Your ability to get information faster. How can you move from here to here? That is how intelligence will be measured. Your ability to use these AI tools. You're moving from ChatGPT based on you understand the logic of the whole process. So thank you very much, Mr. Jerry. That was a fantastic one. Yes, you can have your seats. Thank you, Mr. Jerry.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Please don't mind Chief. Right. My name is Isaac. I'm happy to be here. Happy to see some of our faces. So, before this slide comes up, I'll ask a couple of questions. Like he said, I like starting everything from the grassroots, then we go to what we have here. So just a few minutes. I just want to hear your idea of what education is. Anybody? You can Google it. It's what education is. Let's start from there. Then we'll come back to what learning is. So what's education? I'm a teacher by profession, so I'm going to. So, but I mean, anybody? What's education to you? We'll sleep here. What's education? You guys going to school now? Are we? Okay. All right. Who first? Me? Okay. Let's have it go.
Okay. Education. No.
Okay. For me, education is the training of the mind to think.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Training of the mind to think. Amazing. Wow. That's new.
Okay, when I was earlier having something in mind to say before he said so, but now I'm skeptical of saying what I was saying. But that's fine, that's fine. So, education, I want to say that education is being in the four walls of a school. They're being in the four walls of an environment where they learn. So that's what education is.
Okay, amazing. So we have, you want to share? Okay.
So education is like it comes from the Latin word career or education. So mean to bring out the innate knowledge and to nourish it to be better for the individual. So you care for the innate abilities of the individual.
So wow. Amazing. Please put your hands together for them. Alright, so we are getting somewhere, right? Right. From his definition of education is what, man of God?
Training of the mind.
Training of the mind. Wow. To think. His definition of education is, being in the confinement of a classroom and somebody dishing out knowledge, right? And hers is, sorry, man, it came from one Greek word that's very spiritual. Is it charis or came or? Okay, right, but you heard our own decision. Now, let's search our phone. Let's go to Google, right? So let's just search what education is. Sorry, before this comes up, let's have something. And I want anybody carried. So success, please.
Dictionary meaning. Education is the process of imparting knowledge, skill, and judgment.
Process of imparting knowledge. I don't want the dictionary definition. Right?
Education is the lifelong systematic process of acquiring knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits aimed at fostering intellectual, social, and personal development.
All right. Now, from that definition, you can see that education is actually a process, right? And then for me, it mentions 3-4 things. One is knowledge, that's understanding, having knowledge. Then the second is value in terms of skills. Then the third is character, right? Forgive me, that's my definition of education. Education is for the head, for the mind, and for the hands. What that simply means is you need to think, have knowledge, you need to know how to build something with your hands, and then you also, what was the last one? You need to know how to do something with your hands, right? And then you also need to have the belief system to be able to do that. Right now, let's go to what learning is. Right? Anybody, what do you think learning is? Okay.
I think learning is the process of acquiring knowledge.
Amazing.
Skills.
Knowledge, skills. Okay. Like this one, see sometimes seeing like.
I was going to say that.
Okay. Can I?
Yes, I want to say learning is the process of acquiring knowledge. I think that's the skeleton of it. It's you going out and seeking, information that you were not privileged to before.
All right. So, thank you very much. Now, from all of our conversation, you can see that learning is dynamic, right? It means learning is a process, something that you have to do to be able to get something. There's an end result. It's just that you have to pass through the process. Now, how many of us how many of us went to school and then the job we are currently doing, or rather, if school prepared you for the job you are having right now? How many of you, like if school, at your 4 walls of the classroom, like you shared, you have one, we have two, okay, Jelly is like this, we have three, we have four, we have five. Amazing. Then we have somebody behind, six. That's okay. Amazing. Now, there was a story that someone was sharing. I think a lady here, she said she intentionally failed a subject because she wanted something, right? And that something was different from what that course was given to her. Now, that's basically what the future of learning looks like, right? The future of learning is not putting learning in a very rigid manner. It's putting learning in a way that's dynamic, a way in which each of us can choose what we want for ourselves and be able to go through it, right? I have something I put in place, so let me just use this to guide me so I will not go out of context entirely. All right, so my first question was if school prepared you for the purpose for today's word, and some of you raised your hand. And then I would like to ask you, I think you raised your hand. Now, what would be the future of what you learned in school right now? Will you be going back to school to go and learn what will sustain you for what that particular thing you learned?
I don't understand.
Okay, you learned something in school, right? Now, the future is evolving. So will you be willing to go back to school, right? Go back to the 4 walls of your classroom to be able to go and learn that and then come back? Maybe spend another 3 years, 2 years, and then come back to...
The same thing.
Not really the same thing, but something that's much more better for the future. You know, since the whole future concept is changing.
Am I willing to go back to school? No, of course not.
Why?
I mean, because I don't have to anymore. I don't have to.
Why?
Because I can learn it on my own terms. Let me put it that way.
Right. Now you can see from her response that going back to school might seem like more like a waste of time, not really a waste of time. But then the education now, or rather learning, is available anytime, anywhere, any day. Right. So that's what learning is. Right. Now moving forward, now some of the challenges of why our school system is not working. I'll just tell us a story and then we'll move on. Number one is the whole background of, the whole schooling process started from, right? You can see that then the reason why our curriculum was due the way it is was because people were trained for what was existing, right? You go to school to become a nurse, you go to school to become a lawyer, you go to school to become a banker and all of that. And at the end of the day, when you done well, that's what you want. But when you don't do well, they tell you repeat, or they tell you you have carryover and all of that. And in the deepest part of you, that's actually what you want to learn. Now, what education did, or rather, what we had for what learning is then, is it's limited how we should learn. Now, it means that for all of us seated here, it sees us as people who learn same way, right? Meanwhile, what he sees as A might be different from what I see as A. What he sees as B might be different from what I see as B. He might believe A is A, but me, I would like to ask why is A A? Why is A not B? Now you can see that if I'm in the classroom and then that's being taught, I might not be able to have time to ask questions. Right? I might not be able to have time to really stop the lecturer or stop the teacher to be able to teach me in a way I understand. So you see, it's more rigid. Right? So that's education for the whole. Now, education was built for the industrial age, but we are living in the intelligence world right now, right, where AI exists and all of that. And thank God for Jerry. Jerry shared some things that I'll build upon and all of that, right? And then, if we look at it over time, right, there's what Google called the shift of the digital age. The first was when internet came in, I think this is still also, right? How many of us remember the first time we ever browsed? You remember? How many of you remember when you went to one cafe and pay maybe 1,000 or 800 to be able to buy time to browse? But now you can see the internet is at your hand, right? How many of you, the next wave rather was now the mobile age? How many of you remember when you got your first phone? Do you remember your first phone? So, what's your first phone? Let me know if you're a big man.
The multi-links.
Are you sure?
Yes, it was.
Okay. I saw your hand here. You raised your hand? Okay. Did you raise your hand? All right, who else? You want to share your first phone? Your first one?
The first one was a BlackBerry.
Wow. Wow. BlackBerry. Ah. Wow. I mean, you started well. She started strong. Ah, that's amazing. BlackBerry. Wow. BlackBerry used to be for, all these Twitch people that time, and all of that. Now, you can see how even mobile phone evolved, right? There was Sony Ericsson, Montelink, Starcoms, and all of those ones we don't know. Then, right now, we now have a change, which is now the digital age, right? That's the age of intelligence, where we'll have AI and all of that, right? Now, what this simply means is the way we learn from the internet, the way we learn from mobile, and now moving to AI has simply changed, right? I'll also talk about that, right? Now, let's look at the big shifts, right? Now, then we had a one-size classroom where we learn, where they forced most of us to go to and sit and learn. They'll tell you, oh, define this, define that, and all of that. And you don't have a choice to believe that, whether you have learned or not. Now, let me also share another story. I remember back in my secondary school, I think we did secondary school together with him, with one other person, Excel. I cheat in secondary school. How many of you have not cheated before? You have not done expo before? Right now, that period, how I was seeing learning was I had to cram a process to be able to pass. If I don't pass, it means that I have not learned. That was how I was seeing education here, right? But then when I got to my university, the whole mindset changed, and I also met another Moses. I have two Moses Jeremiah in my life. The first Moses Jeremiah, and then the second new Jerry. I have both of them in my life. Now, when I met Moses, we had a conversation, I think around 2016, before COVID. And then he shared something with me. He said, Isaac, I'm finding it difficult to be able to focus in class, concentrate. And I know him to be a very smart person. Now, what's the issue? The issue is the learning process in these 4 walls was not favoring him. And these 4 walls, that the learning of them, was willing to judge him if he fails. And they'll tell him that, no, you're not smart, you're a failure, and all of that. Now, we now started thinking of, okay, what can we do to be able to come up with solutions so that everybody can learn? I think we regretted this, both of us, because then I think most edtech platform, maybe there was, but around 2016, it wasn't just big like that. And then we started thinking, why not create pre-recorded courses? That was what was in our mind. Why not create something out of it? Now, that process of thinking, we're actually learning, because what we're trying to do is solving a problem we're facing. He's faced with it, and I think I had a problem too, and all of that, right? Now, that's education for the old. Then the next is its focus is exam over experience. Now, back then in school, you have to pass exam, like I said, for learning, for people to determine if learning has taken place or not, rather than, what experience have you gathered and all of that. Then lastly, certification over competence. And I think Jerry mentioned something, I pray I remember it, and it's around this, which is much more impact driven, right? For the future, people are not looking for, show me your certificate. I think when I started my job, nobody asked me, Isaac, let me see your certificates. Right? See the person that employed me here, Excel. Nobody asked me my certificate. They were just asking me, what can you do, Isaac? Right? What skill set do you have and all of that? So what this simply means was My school didn't do anything. It just contributed to my journey, but learning didn't really take place there. Now, for what future of learning will be, it will be more personalized. Like the story of Moses I shared here, right? You can see that Moses had to think about different ways to be able to learn. And for him is having pre-recorded videos that when he goes back, he can actually learn from them, right? And then you can see that in the next aspect is project and problem based, right? So education in the future will not be based on past exam. I think even our job currently is not, let me see your, let's mark your code base and let's see if you fail. Have you delivered it? Can you deliver this thing? Is result oriented, just like also our speaker shared, right? And then is how you are able to solve problem. Now, what this simply means is how we learn is supposed to shift from trying to cram things towards how to solve problem. Right? I call it you learn. I think most of us know the same. Then you unlearn and then you relearn. The reason why you are taking this route is because you are trying to solve a problem. Right? So if you are thinking on how you can compete in the digital age, you need to learn one of these skills, adaptability skills, how to adapt. And the only way to adapt in any society is when you learn, relearn, unlearn, and relearn. Right? And that's why I asked her that question. Now, her school has taught her but a step, right? And for her now, for her to be able to remain relevant in the future, she have to unlearn some of the things she has learned, right? And then relearn new skills that are very suitable for the future. Now, for success, I think for him now is to learn how he can also leverage on some things around artificial intelligence to be able to produce some of the things they produce. I think they do that, right? So you can see the future of learning is how we think, right? And then it's going to be skills-based, portfolio, and then proof of work. Right. Now, we also have this as how learning is going to be. Now, Jerry talked about having Dave, and then Dave, tells AI Dave what to do and all of that, and AI Dave will feel Dave normal will feel what's the word threatened that AI Dave is about to take my job. Now, that's Dave not really learning, right? So what learning does is, instead of you to think that way, because you are in charge of AI Dave, right? You tell AI Dave what to do. You give it the number of information you want and what not to do, right? It's by collaborating. It's going to be more collaboration with AI, right? Learning is going to be AI studying you and giving you solutions around what works for you. This is how you learn, this is how you grow, and all of that, rather than just fix. Then the next is much more intelligent system around personalized learning at your own space, and all of that. Now you can see that in school system, in normal education system, time is rigid. They tell you have to learn this thing for 1 year. Right? They don't give them whether you have actually learned or not. But then the future of learning gives you time. You have time with you. It means that I can pick up something. If I don't understand, I can always go back. Right? Recently, I tried to do something at the office. Right? And it was around computing data and all of that. I'm not a data analytics person, right? I'm just a guy who loves to solve problems, right? So I picked those data up and I was like, I cannot be able to solve all of this thing and all of that. And I took it to AI. I said, I have this data. This is what I want to achieve. Right? AI gave me, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that. And I met my data analytics at the office. I was like, guy, how can I be able to translate this thing? Because I really don't understand this thing. And he was like, Isaac, this is an advanced data analytics job. I was like, see, easy now. See, AI don't really give me everything. So what's difficult about this thing? Just and all of that. Now, what I was expecting is the thinking process. And that's how learning is going to be in the future. You need to learn how to think. You need to learn how to be ahead of technology. Right? If you fall behind technology, it means that you're not willing to think, you're not willing to innovate, you're not willing to collaborate also. Right? So for you to be ahead of any industry or ahead of technology right now, you need to learn how to think. And learning how to think comes from asking a whole lot of why. Right? It's just, for example, how most of us learned while growing up. We explore, right? If you see fire now, you want to touch it, right? And it has to burn you before you know that, oh, this thing is dangerous. Now, you have to go back to that model of learning to be able to be ahead of technology, right? Mr. Excel is telling me that it's my time. So let me round up. All right. Now, learning is no longer a phase of life. Learning is continuous, right? Problem based, and it's everywhere, right? So we have a whole lot of software around us, right? Recently, I also used Notion. I wanted learning front end, and I was like, how will I learn front end? I didn't meet a front end developer, so I just went to here and asked it to create a learning journey for me. And what Notion did was it gave me the breakdown, gave me the time. And the beautiful thing about what Notion did was I asked Notion that how can it integrate this pathway to my workspace, and voila, it just did it, picked everything and have it. And that's what learning is. Now it means that you can have a more personalized learning for yourself. You don't have to sit in the four corner of classroom to be able to learn whatever it is. Right now, we have some things or some tools that support our learning right now, right? So you're not alone when it comes to learning. You have AI that helps you to research anything you want to do and all of that. You just have to think about the result, what you want to achieve, and then have that. Then we have online platform, and then we have community like this. And that's why we're gathered here, because learning is not about you just sitting and listening to me. It's also going back to think and see how you can apply all of this. So AI is not, technology is not a hero, right? It's not a hero, right? The goal, technology does not transform education. Good learning design does. What it simply means is your model of learning, your model of thinking to just change. Your mindset about how you view things. You need to explore more. You need to think more to be able to solve problems, right? Now, let's look at these things, the core curriculum for 2023, 2030. I love this thing. And somebody mentioned one of them. The first is cognition, learning to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Right? So that's the first curriculum. For you to succeed or to be able to stand and be able to learn things in the future, you need to know this. Then the next is somebody shared that the ability to verify truth in a world of synthetic media. I think a lady there shared that. Yeah. So you also need to know how to do that. And that's when, for you to be able to do this, is when you are curious about stuff, when you are, you like exploring stuff and all of that. Then lastly, collaborative intelligence with AI. And please just, I think that will be all. Let's go to the final one, right? Let's ask simple question. If a 17-year-old boy asks you guys today what your focus will be, right? If anybody should ask what your focus will be it be degree, right? Will it be skill or a work project? So it's I don't have time, so I'll not ask you guys to answer me that. But I want you to think about it, right? If they are going to ask you what your focus of learning will it be degree, skills, or project? Then I think the final. Okay. That's nice. Okay. So on the final note, like I said, learning has changed. You have to, for you to be able to learn for the future, you have to learn how to learn, and unlearn. And then learning for the future, it's only available for those who are curious. So for you to be to remain relevant and sustainable in the future, you need to be curious, and always curious people win. Thank you.
Count the us together for Mr. Isaac.
There's a lot has been said, but I'm in a room with very technical people anyway.
very smart people, and people are doing a lot of things already, and which is good, which is beautiful. But I also know that our age range, there's a wide variation, right? So I'll just speak freely, and I hope that somebody will pick something from it. So when Jerry told me about it, so we're having a conversation around it, one of the things I had mentioned to him was, I think so I'm speaking of the future of work, right? The future of work is fluid, obviously, from everything that we have said today. And work being fluid, men have to become fluid as well. You also, again, this is 2026, so I think you're the one that did the sampling of how many people are doing what they learned in school, and just 7 of us. I mean, out of everybody here. So that's already obvious that men are becoming fluid. You're not going to, most likely maybe not going to do what you learned in school. Unless you learn unless for the 7 people, right? So already the future of work is fluid. Men also have to become fluid, no matter what you're doing. No matter what you're doing, and no matter how technical you already are, there's a very high chance that you are also going to be outdated very soon if you don't keep it moving. So we all have to come with the understanding or have the mindset that you have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. You cannot afford to, no matter, again, technical people, no matter how much you're being paid, right? You also cannot afford to just sit and say, oh, nobody can even afford it. Nobody can afford it in 2026. Elon Musk has said in 30 years' time, there will be no work. Nobody will have to work, right? But within the 30 years brackets, you have to keep moving. You have to keep learning. Speaking of learning, right? One of the things that, let me steal Jerry's slide. One of the things I saw on Jerry's slide, it says, jobs will not be replaced, tasks will be replaced. So you have to begin to think in terms of task, not jobs anymore. It's not a job title. Oh, I'm going to be here I'm a public servant, so there's a 35-year thing or 35-year trap, right? I'm going to be here for that. You will not, or you may not be there for 35. Nothing is cast in stone anymore. Work is change. I work in an organization that supposedly is stable, whatever is in your mind, maybe you are correct, right? But things have happened in the recent past, and things are moving. You just get new leadership. And you think for this person that is an elderly person, but they are already thinking, how can we make things fast? Why do we have, what people tag with public services, a lot of bureaucracy, paperwork. You have to send one letter, you get your response in 3 months' time, all those things. People are already thinking, what's this nonsense in 2026? Why are we doing this? And systems are coming up, and you can even trace things already. So we have to begin to think, no matter how much you've been paid, no matter how comfortable you think you are, the mindset should be what's changing, what's moving. Just keep it moving, right? My intro was talking about CFA. Is even that is, if you're not careful, becoming outdated. If you're not careful, no matter how professional you get in a field, of course, it's good to gain mastery, and I'm also going to get to that. It's good to gain mastery, because if you've not mastered something, you cannot really provide value to change it. You have to master it to be able to understand what is left, how you can make it better. So, well, maybe not always, but maybe sometimes, right? How you can make it better. And then in doing that, you keep this moving. Again, I was talking about, it's only tasks that are going to be changed, and your job is broken down into different tasks, right? So if you sit on one task and you don't open your mind to, and whatever you're doing, not everybody's going to be a software developer. Not everybody, because there are a lot of them in this room, right? Because everybody introducing themselves like, wow. Not everybody will be a designer. Not everybody's going to do, whatever you're doing, just ask questions. Let the frustrations of your process spur you to think about, how can I make this better? How can I make this better? How can I make this better? And ask questions. So I've written here, I said, no matter where you already work, just keep your perspective fluid. And again, you don't have to also, we know already, you don't have to sit in what you learned from school or whatever. So yes, I mean, I'm a finance person and all of that. But how did I meet Jerry? We met in projection. So I do a bit of media, not a lot of media, a bit of it. And why am I into media? Because I don't know, it was just curiosity. Yeah, but I was being curious, like, oh, I mean, how do people do these things? And of course, met in church, right? You go to church, you just join the unit and all of that. And today I can talk about things that people look at me like, how do you know all of that? But because I now lead projection, right, in one of our campuses, right? So there are different. You don't have to sit in a box. Again, we talk about thinking outside the box all the time, but let's bring it home. It's not a foreign concept. You don't have to sit in a box. There are different things that fly around you, every day. Knowledge is free, but you have to pay something for it. And that thing you pay is attention. Attention is becoming very scarce for two things. Social media, all of us are on social media. First of all, social media is taking away your attention from many things. And even on social media, your attention is still being destroyed. How? People's span for watching things is becoming short. Now, people are trying to even, Jerry was talking about the AI tool that breaks a video into, things have to be short. If anything is more than 5 minutes, people cannot watch it. Like, it's too long. Why am I? But you have to realize that the things that have been taken away from us are going to become needed very soon. Not everybody can pay attention to it. So who will watch a 2-hour video? Unless it's a movie. Even if it's a movie, if it's too long, they're not watching it. It's too long. People watch everything on 2x. Now, like, please, make it fast. We have to, those things that have been taken away, you have to pay attention to it and begin to train yourself to be able to do those things, right? It was talking about storytelling. I know somebody asked the question, somebody mentioned the art of storytelling. I think talking about a skill that's going to be, what is storytelling? Just curiosity. You should be curious. You hear words flying around every day. Just go home and say, what's the storytelling? Storytelling is really just outlining your process and being able to speak to your process. That's really storytelling. They're just words that are buzzwords, that are flying around all over the place. But you need to pay attention to things and sit down and say, how does this affect me? You have a lot of things here today. How does this affect me? Social media is a thing now. People are content creators, social media. Even when you come into that field, you begin to discover that there's many things you don't know. Even in just creating content, there are so many things you don't know. Let curiosity, lead you to continue to do things. And not just, becoming a jack of all trades again. The future of work is gaining mastery, being able to speak to everything, being able to teach somebody. Let somebody be able to do it even better than you are, and then move to something else. Not always because of money. Money, I know, is usually a huge factor in why people do what they do. But sometimes don't even just think about it. Just think about, so I've been sitting beside Favor. Some of us don't know Favor. I've been sitting beside her. She's been walking all this. And I was just looking at her. Yeah, she doesn't know that I'm good. She didn't know I was going to talk about this. But I was just looking at just the tool she's been using, just doing things. Let your mind be curious. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, how does she do these things? Like, I can go home or I can have a conversation with her after now. I can choose to, because again, I keep thinking, you can do anything. You can become anything in this life. In 2026, you can become anything, literally. You don't have to say, even if you made a first class in computer science or in whatever. Funny thing is, thankfully, universities now are even offering courses that when they were not offering, 5-10 years ago. Universities are now offering cybersecurity. There are things that we didn't use to do, you could not even study before. But even if you come out from a school and you have made a first class from whatever course, let that not be you can become anything. I'm a core finance person, but my mind, I saw a video last week. We had a program in church, right? And somebody had uploaded a video of the backstage of how the production was done. And it was just intriguing to me. And I'm like, I think I'm going to go into production. I'm just going to go into how people shoot on, how they do it. Because there's so many gadgets. It just interests me. I know when things pique your interest like that, just take a step in that direction, even if it's just for fun. Because in going in that direction, you begin to meet people, learn things, and things begin to open up. So you cannot always orchestrate your life and say, come for a networking event, go for this. There are so many things that you cannot control, right? But there are the things you can control are the things that you go back home to do. The questions that you ask, the things you search on Google, and not the 5 seconds Instagram. It's taking your attention away from many things, even destroying your attention span. You need to be able to sit down with things, learn things. Become a master or something, right? I hope it is few points of mine. I think my time is fast spent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Okay, so Mr. Shalom, tell us about the future of creativity.
Okay. I think the first place to start would be to buttress a point that just happened right now. I think in this particular situation, the norm was that everyone was speaking and standing up, right? So if you were to automate that with AI would have already flopped now. So AI would have been confused. And that's basically what separates us from AI. Is the ability to adapt, to look at a situation, to understand it, to know what to do next, and to apply, human emotion to, do something different. I'm supposed to talk about the human advantage in the AI world when it applies to creativity. I feel like I should say an intro about myself, but maybe I'll get there. The future has never been about speed. Let's start there. I, for one, am a disruptor. I don't believe that, things should go a certain way, right? I like to cause chaos in everything I'm doing, right? So when it comes to, AI and using AI to work, I believe the fear around it or the problem generally, it doesn't affect people that are highly skilled and highly favored. And I will explain why, right? Last year I had like a job that I was doing with like a company and I was let go in order to be replaced with AI. And I think what that taught me, what that explained to me was the fact that if you see yourself as an executioner, obviously you will be replaced. But if you see yourself as something to, come up with both the idea, execution, and know how things work, then you have a place in the future. The problem is that most people currently have all existed as just executioners. Now you need to do a bit of, I think everybody has said a lot of the word storytelling. You have to be, emotionally intelligent. You have to be very curious. All these things are things that you need to add to have an edge over AI. I think we can move to. So these are like a bunch of AI tools. I don't think I personally can use all of them. I don't know, is there anyone that can use everything here? I think I can use some of them, but you definitely find that there are some that are new. And there are still so many more that are coming into the market right now. We have, Runway, Magnifique, and so many others that are launching. And I think it's very scary, right, for some people, because they look at the number of AI tools that are coming into the market and they don't know where to start. Many people ask the question, oh, if I want to do this, which AI tool do I use? If I want to do that, which AI tool do I use? I think what I always tell people as the first step is that you need to first understand what you want to create. I personally, I hate AI. I dislike it with all of my being, right? But I have to use it. And that is where everybody is, right? We are all playing catch up in this AI journey. There is no one size fits all with AI. They've been developing AI since like 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. The godfather of AI, they've been building these systems for a long time up until now. So as much as you try, nobody exactly can predict what the future is exactly going to look like. We can only say how you stay relevant. We can only tell you the things that you should do to stay ahead of the curve. But we cannot say exactly how AI is going to evolve. Because sometimes I say to some people that, oh, okay, AI is not going to replace your job. Then I see a new AI tool that comes up and it can do motion. It's over. So sometimes I say, okay, AI cannot write as better. Then later again, I say another. So as much as you think that, a lot of these things, right, you have, the only thing I would say is that, we are all at different stages of the journey. Some of us have started using AI longer than some people here. Some people are just understanding what it means. So it means that you have more knowledge or you have more experience to be able to give someone something that can help them, right? And I think that's just a major difference. So one of the things I want to say is that creativity is like a light, right? And it's basically, idea, intent, and meaning, right? That is basically what we all carry here, right? We all have an idea, we all have intent. The two only shapes that light, right? So whether you're using Photoshop, whether you're using whatever tool that you meet, that tool only shapes the light. It doesn't change whatever other idea that you have. And every shift creates three responses. You are either an optimist, a pessimist, or a spectator. Now, an optimist is someone that accepts this. That's not me. But I'm almost an optimist. I'm getting there, right? Because I find that most times in my place of work, and I think this is my reason for hating AI, because let me just explain that, right? I find that a lot of the things that, and I think it's going to happen, I think eventually AI will make some people dumber. There are some people that, there are some things that normally, I was trying to edit something, and because of the norm in the company that I work, where everyone use AI to do this, use AI to do this. I was trying to edit something, and the first thing that came to my mind was to use AI to generate an image. You wouldn't believe I forgot completely that they were stock footages. I forgot completely that you could go and download images. You can find. My first thought was that, let me generate an image to represent this, and I was just like, wow, look at where we are. So it was just sad. And then I was in another argument on the call where I was pushing the narrative that AI is more real than editing something naturally. And let me explain, right? When you edit something with Photoshop, right? And permit me to get technical here, but when you edit something with Photoshop, right? People always say, this looks Photoshopped, right? This looks like it's edited. Except you are very, very good. But even to some extent, people still say, I know that they edited this thing. But when you use AI, it creates something completely new. So to some extent, it's almost like, what AI generated is already existent or real life. And then what you edited looks fake somehow. So that is the world we are getting at, to the point where you are questioning which is real, which is not, right? So there's the optimists, there are the people that accept it, there are people that are willing to learn. Those are the people that bought Bitcoin back in the days. Nothing scares them. Once they see something, they are easy to enter into it. They are the pessimists. These are the people that challenge it. You can see some studios that will say, we are never going to use AI to create any of our work. We're always going to create things original. And those people will still be relevant, believe you not, because they are still going to tell stories with what they have. You don't expect that in the future, people would completely do away with the themes because they didn't use AI to create this. I think what matters most, what I see now, is that people want to see the process. So if you post something, people are saying, how did you create it? So you need to be able to show workings to that. But you see, you can be the optimist, you can be the pessimist. You see, the people that you should not be in this place are the spectators. You see, history always forgets the people that only played watch. The only people that were just looking, that when AI came, they didn't learn, they didn't care, they didn't do anything. You see, those kind of people, if you're going to leave anything from here, just don't be a spectator. As much as you see AI trying to change the industry, learn something. If you're fighting against it, fight against it, but preserve your own skill and preserve the things that matter to you. If you want to be an original writer and write, I still think you would have a place. I still think you would have a place in the future. I've seen jobs where they say, okay, where is your AI portfolio, right? I want to see all the works you've created with AI. I've seen jobs where it was an AI that did the interview. And I'm saying this because I probably apply to jobs like a lot of the times. I might have a job, but I'm constantly applying to jobs. And the reason why I do that is because I like to challenge myself, right? And I don't like to settle, right? So as much as I know that, this particular thing, and I'm hoping that one day we'll get to that job that I will be happy with and I will stay with. That is my dream, right? But for now, it's money that is pushing me forward. So every job, once I get a new one, I will move. I have no loyalty. So the only person I'm loyal to is God. So that's basically how I did. And what AI can't touch, I'm going to just list this as a list. So the number one thing is strategic thinking, problem solving. The number two thing is emotional intelligence and empathy. The number three is storytelling and communication. I think the fourth one is original creativity and ideation. So those are the four things that AI cannot replace, right? As much as you are scared about it, you need to understand that AI cannot generate new ideas until it sees something, right? And it's kind of like the same thing with all of us, right? AI copies a lot of the actions that we do. It replicates that. That is where it's learning from. And it's like most of the times when I tell people that are trying to, learn how to be creative, I tell them that you need to build your visual archive. You need to consume a lot of things so that you are able to know what's possible, what's not. Right? And that's the same thing AI is built on, consuming knowledge, consuming that. But the major part that I'll say here is that you need to be good with storytelling and communication. I've worked with a lot of foreign companies, and one of the things that I've noticed with most of them is that they like to overshare. Most of these white people, when I join the call with them, they can start with the call that, I just went out with my girlfriend. But and sometimes as Nigerians, I don't know whether it's a cultural thing. We're like, what's all this one that you're telling me? I don't need all this information, right? You're like, don't go all this place. But let me tell you why it matters. As humans, a lot of the decisions we've made, like it or not, they are biased based on emotion. The person you hire for a job, if you look at it, it's because you have a gut feeling that, this person, he has a good spirit. There's some emotion that, influences it, right? It's the same for when you're working in a job, right? If people see that you talk a lot, you speak, you contribute to things, they tend to value you more than someone who is docile and just quiet. You are just a spectator, you just observe on meetings. When they say, when they crack a joke, that's when you unmute and laugh. When they say something, that's when you unmute and say yes. You don't want to contribute to the conversation. You don't want to know how the business works. That's just going to put you behind. So I think that's the major thing. You need to know how to communicate. You need to even know how to build relationships. I think those are the skills that are the most important. Relationships, communication skills, and being able to tell stories. And I think the last thing. So choose your position. Either you are an optimist, a pessimist, or a spectator. But choose optimist, pessimist, or spectator. But just know that execution is cheap, thinking is expensive. You need to choose one. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Good afternoon, everyone. So our previous speaker highlighted some of the parts of the work that AI can't replace. That's the creativity and strategic thinking. So briefly, I'm going to be talking on the parts that AI is actually replacing, or more like improving. So before we dive into that, I'll just quickly, before the slide comes on, I'll just quickly highlight some of the categories of AI tools. So AI tools are broken down into different categories. You have those that are focused on writing, those that are focused on designing, and those that are focused on automation. So these are some of the tasks that usually used to be done manually by people, but gradually, let me use the word gradually because I feel it to get to a point where you take over completely, but for now, it's still gradual. So I was talking about the core AI tool categories. So we have the writing and thinking assistants, we have the design and visual assistants, we have the coding and development assistant, and then we have the learning, teaching tools, and automation and productivity. So there are a couple of AIs that fall under these categories. We have the ChatGPT, we have the cloud, and we have a couple of other AI tools that fall under each of these categories. And some of these tools, their main purpose is not necessarily to totally replace human input, because human input is very paramount. Of course, they were trained on human inputs, but it's more like making the work a bit more easier and faster. Like something that will normally take someone, let's say 8 hours or 9 hours to craft, you can now do it in 2 hours or 1 hour or less. So that's one of the advantage of it. So some people that might be seeing it as AI is trying to take your job, is not, to a certain extent, it's not totally replacing your job. It's just making the process a bit more faster. So can we go to the next slide? So the next one. Okay. There are a couple of things that AI are good at today. I'm using the key phrase today because tomorrow, as the previous speaker said, something might change. Like I remember when the AI campaign started out, there were a couple of things I thought that AI will never take, but today AI is gradually encroaching into that aspect and all of that. So it's more like incremental development. So as of today, AI, no, still go back. As of today, AI serves as generating your first drafts. Like for people that are into research work, people that are into writing, you don't have to start from scratch again. Before, I knew if you had to do a writing or you had to prepare a documentation on something, you have to start scouting Google, looking for how to get a lot of things. But now you can simply just go on any of these AI tools and just type your core idea, and then it gives you a draft on where you can start from. At least with that initial draft, you have a direction of where to kick up from to begin to put things in place and all of that. So that's one of the core parts that AI is really good at. So we have also summarizing and simplifying information. Me personally, in this section, what I usually do is when I have something I need to understand or maybe get a summary on, you can easily give the resource material to these AI tools and they're able to break it down because they do this much more faster than we humans do. And that's even where the advantage comes, that something you might actually take time to try to assimilate, you can now easily get the core information from it very quickly. So we also have pattern recognition and brainstorming ideas. This is also similar to what I talked about, the generating the first drafts. When you have a concept you want to get input on, you can easily generate ideas. Maybe you're looking for, I know me personally, in this aspect, what I usually do when as a developer, when I want to work on a product, instead of having to start afresh from scratch to begin to look for ideas, brainstorming, you can easily enter into any of the AI tools and type in what you want. It helps you to do brainstorming, do the research for you and all of that. So that's part of the advantage of the AI tool and how they make the work easier for both developers and non-developers. So we also have automation of repetitive tasks. This is usually where I usually camp on when it comes to AI and replacing jobs. There are a lot of tasks that are actually very repetitive, especially in our day-to-day activities, and it's even tiring to do. So me currently, most of the time, I don't even remember that those tasks used to be something that was hard for me to do because we have AI now and you can easily just jump in to give AI the task to do. I don't know if it's an advantage or if it is a disadvantage because it's making people late actually. So you can't really actually think. Some people, some persons might not actually want to think critically to do things themselves. Your first instinct is to jump to AI. So that's also a downside of it. But it makes those tasks, those repetitive tasks, easier to do, that you can easily outsource them to AI and they get it done. So on what AI is bad at currently, I think the previous speaker highlighted on this, giving final judgments. So this touches across different sectors. Both those that use AI in coding, those that use AI in analysis, those that use AI in image generation, those that use AI in video editing. You see sometimes people that do video editing or image generation, you might try to generate a video or an image, the person will have 3 hands or two 4 legs, something like that. So it's actually AI cannot take the final decisions most of the time. So it's still left to you to put in your human creativity to take the final decision. So AI is, for now, is not really good at decision making to an extent. I say to an extent because it keeps improving every day. Like I remember when Google launched their Gemini 3, and it was like it's the best model. Before we knew, the next day, OpenAI responded with also a good model. So it's more like a competition. Things keep getting better. So you talk about also context. You have to give proper context to AI before it can give you what you actually want. If not, someone mentioned earlier that AI hallucinates a lot, and it's not even a joke. You can give it especially people that are doing research work. This is where you have to get very careful. Because I had a friend that was doing a research work. Okay. Let me finish my story first. I had a friend that was doing a research work and trying to get information on a particular. The person cited the AI to give it particular case studies and all of that. The AI went ahead to manufacture case studies and gave the person. So this person used it in the person's report. When he now submitted it to the supervisor was now asking where he got this case study. By the time he went back to do the research, he found out that AI manufactured it and used it as actual data, and he didn't bother to do fact checking. So fact checking is something that's also important when you're making use of AI. And we also have the ethical and accountability. Can we go to the next slide? So we also have prompting. Prompting is also very important. That's what determines how the outcome of your data. If you're able to prompt properly for your AI, you will get good outcome. There are platforms that help you do the prompting. For me personally, what I usually use is generate prompts.ai. It helps you generate the proper prompts. So that basic prompt you normally type on ChatGPT, like write me an email. You can put it in any of this platform and it gives you a refined prompt you can use to get a good output. Please, next slide. So okay. Here, these are some of the tools. Because of time, I won't really go through them. So we can just go to the next slide. We have tools for designers, Stitch, Figma. Figma have their own AI now, so it makes things a bit more easier for designer. We have Canva, we have Rock Imagine. Okay, for developers, we have a lot of tools for them. Also, and Lovable. Next slide. Okay, for educators, we have Notebook LM and Notion AI. I think one of our speakers talked about using Notion AI and how it helped him to get curriculum for what he wanted to do. It's actually a very good AI platform you can check out. Next slide, please. So the key takeaway from all of this, the tools keep getting better. That's why even as a creator, whichever field you are in, it's very important to also upskill and try to remain relevant in your skill, because you might wake up tomorrow and you don't have a job again because AI has gotten better. And mind you, this is the worst version of all these tools. They keep getting better. And the best version probably is still in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fernando.
I want to say a special thank you to all of the speakers, especially, and to the audience also, especially. Some of them came from Luna. You know how to fly back from Lagos yesterday just to be here. A lot of other people this is the first time I'm posting something, and the kind of support I got, like there are things that I'm the one hosting the event, and some people reminding me that, okay, what can we do? What is this? What is that? There is one of them, like she has been super helpful. I can mention a lot of names here, but because of time, we're going to do this another time again. It's going to be bigger, and it's going to be when we have taken the next step. I'm sure we're going to take the next step. The next step is building a community around this and learning from each other. That's the goal, learning from each other, growing together. So people said I'm old. I'm not old. They said I should do something, and the teacher is something. So when you do that, what means your phone? When you do is selfie. Okay, are we ready? Yeah. Are we ready? So we're going to say You, when I say the future is not complete without, okay. So the future is not complete without, the future is not complete without, the future is not complete without you. Thank you so much. See you next time. Thank you very much.
Out of the dark hole.